Well, hello, Bob Dendry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, the long game. So we are looking at our motorway that we worked on over the course of the last episode, and it seems to be flowing pretty well. It has improved our flow through of traffic quite significantly. It hasn't made anything perfect by any means, but yeah, it looks really good, I think, from, where I'm looking at it. Like, if we look over here at Oklahoma, this was all completely deadlocked with traffic that was moving between Chandler and Oklahoma, and this bridge is now free. That's good because it's going to allow our goods to flow quite a bit better, whereas they pretty much weren't flowing at all due to, this whole thing. Of course, there's still a lot of work to do to make it, as a whole flow better. And we will do some of that a little bit later on, I think. But that's not what we're going to be working on to start with in this episode. So the government has been really looking at, I guess, the learnings from the production and the building of the Millennium Line, which we're looking at right now, which runs from LA through to Roseville. It was a brand new line that was not covered at all. And it seems to be doing well. It's pretty much breaking even, a little bit better, but it does, I guess, come and go a little bit as you generally expect, especially with these sort of lower margin lines such as this. But it was a big vote winner for the government. So they are looking to place more of these high-speed dedicated passenger services in. So we've got another big build to work on this episode. And what we're looking at today is going to be a new high-speed run from Chandler through to Roseville. So obviously we have our LA to Roseville line, and we're now building a new Chandler to Roseville line. Now we do have a line that runs from Chandler to Roseville right now. As you can see, it runs a little bit of sort of broad strokes. There is definitely some, if you're running from either side of the network to the other, there's definitely some slowdowns to go around things. And that was really more on the fact that we were trying to use some of our existing infrastructure while of course building some new stuff as well. And what we're going to be doing with this route, it will run from Chandler through to Wichita Falls, same as our existing route. It is not actually going to use our existing station. It will run pretty much perpendicular to our existing mainline station. It will then cross the river through to San Francisco, and we will most likely need to do some work because it is quite a tight sort of corridor here. From there, it will follow the existing alignment through to Flint, where it will break off, head to Charleston, and basically will then follow our existing high-speed tracks through to Chesapeake and then to Roseville. So the government's hoping that this will boost the economy of those towns. There are some synergies in terms of our existing lines that we can utilize to not have to build everything from scratch. But where we are building from scratch, I think we've got a really good opportunity to introduce some new connectivity points, and that will hopefully reduce some congestion on other parts of the network as well. So let's get in and start building. So we are going to start over here at Chandler. Now, Chandler is going to need probably a bit of an expansion, but we should be able to pretty much maintain most of the existing right-of-way. I don't think we're going to need to remove any roads, anything like that, though we will likely need to acquire some buildings. And we're okay with that. I think it is... these are all industrial buildings anyway, so potentially we've got the opportunity to revitalize some of the city as well. I am noticing as well that we can probably cover a bit more of the town with our existing station as well, if we would add sort of a new entrance over here or something like that, which pretty much connects up to this crossroads here. And we've got all of these big commercial buildings as well, so that could help us out there too. Unfortunately, we are quite restricted for how much room we've got there, but I think we should be able to sneak in a new entrance there, which will, quite significantly increase the coverage of the station. So that's good to see. And onto our new platforms though, this is where things may start to get a little bit tricky. We are going to be running with, of course, high-speed electric tracks here, as you would expect. And yeah, we're going to need to remove quite a few buildings, as we can see. Of course, we'd be looking to offset these removed buildings with, community grants. We'd be looking to help those businesses to potentially secure new premises, things like that, so they can continue on conducting business. Or, if potentially those people have decided that really it's time to move on from their businesses they were running, then of course they may have got a little bit of a good sort of payout there to help them move on to their next life chapter. So all in all, it's not all bad for those who might have had their businesses acquired or their land acquired. We'll also add in a new side entrance over here as well. This one's not quite as important. You're going pretty much stepping off a cliff there. Not quite as important. These are all industrial buildings, but hey, potentially, maybe we've got some people that will be coming to work via, of course, not just this new high-speed line, but our existing lines as well. So all in all, not too bad. And from here, we will be pretty much segregating this until we're joining up with our existing high-speed Millennium line. So this will be a bit of new building, but hopefully, aside from, of course, sort of right at our stations, we should be avoiding much in terms of having to acquire buildings, things like that. Now, I'm hoping we can join these up and it's not going to be too much slope. No, it looks pretty good. I don't know in what world tunneling is cheaper than cutting, but hey. If that's what we're wanting to do, that's what we're wanting to do, I guess. We also will need to eliminate this dirt road here. We don't need that. We can supply as part of this project a bridge or a tunnel. We actually don't need to do it at all because it doesn't connect to anything of importance. What does it connect to? Just a oil sand quarry. So we might leave it for the moment. And pretty much here, in fact, is where we'll probably break off and start to head towards our new alignment. And we're wanting to keep our speeds here pretty much as high as possible, really. Need to be planning for, future expansion of a line, things like that. Apparently don't want to connect up. I love the game, how it has decided that it wants to do this and not snap things properly to each other, but it is what it is. And we've got to, I guess, have a think of where we're going to put this station. I'd love to have buried stations or underground stations. Of course, it's not possible in the game. But I think probably fairly close to our new freight station is probably a good choice. It's pretty much a residential area as well. So we are, still getting some bang for buck in terms of our passengers. And 240 meters is fine for our high-speed electric trains. The question is, from here, how do we get the trains under or over the rail line there? So we might need to have a think about that. We might need to potentially do some corrections here to make that work as well. And we just need to make these high-speed track as well. So let's see, how is this going to work? I reckon we're going to struggle to tunnel. If I am honest, though, we are trying or needing to go straight up to stay level. So I think we're not actually that far from being able to tunnel, though, of course. We're not able to tunnel at this point. I think we can actually grab our building and have it sit a little bit lower as well, which might help. I think that might be a little bit easier, and that should allow us to go under here as well, easier as well. So overall, probably good. Let's see. Now, are we able to tunnel more easily? Lovely. Okay, cool. So we can tunnel there. And pretty much we are literally just cutting across the entire city. We don't want to keep going down, though. We want to stay... I was going to say stay level, but we're actually coming back up, in fact. And, yeah, sort of join up in the vicinity here. Though maybe... Oh no. Yeah, we've stuffed up a little bit, but it's okay. Okay, cool. That joins up actually quite nicely. We'll remove this little bit of a road stub, and hopefully we can join up fairly straight on here. We are dropping in speed a little bit, but I don't think we're going to get up to that higher speed anyway. So I think it's going to be realistically pretty decent in terms of the sort of capability we have running through here. And then on the other side, we need to get under this rail line here. Not quite there. Though I think it's probably a good shout that we might be able to raise these up and have them pass over the top of the high-speed line. We'll have this go down as far as it can go. A sort of level, and then after that it'll start to come back up as required, I guess. We might even be able to get another station just on the periphery of Laredo, in fact. We might see how that runs. Okay, cool. We'll unpause. And yeah, let's have a look. Could we, I reckon, you know what? I think we can actually do that. I think it will be okay. Of course, we'll need some public transport to sort of pump up the numbers a little bit, but I'm absolutely okay with having a new station over here on this side. We'll also, once again, as we've done with our Wichita station, we will have it sit a little bit lower so it can more easily get over, or under, I should say, our existing running lines. But yeah. We don't even need to go down that far, I don't think. It should be pretty easy, I think, to get under. Say that, and it's not happening. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So if I build here, will I tunnel from there? Yeah, I will. Okay. Lovely. Cool. And yeah, really nice. Once again, fairly direct connection here with not much effort required. And once again, super high speed as well. So good. Now next, this becomes a little bit trickier, though still not really insurmountable. We do have quite a congested little corridor here, but the important thing, we don't have any trains that stop at our freight terminal here, and we've, at other places as well, sort of gotten rid of the freight terminal platforms and used the, I guess, the additional room we're getting to introduce further passenger platforms. There's no different here. We are going to disrupt things a little bit when we shift over our freight to run on the new track we've just put in, but I think it should be fairly easy to make that happen. Apparently not. I reckon... Where are we here? Okay, yeah, we're going to have to do some deleting, aren't we? I'm trying to build a road when I should be building rail. Classic me. Okay, so that's shifted over. Only thing we've got left is this guy here. He needs to find his way onto that track there. And I think we should... be able to just delete the track pieces one by one and should be able to push him along. We've got a little bit of a collision there, so if we get rid of this, that should make that collision go away. Okay, so the question is from here, how do we get over there? And I think quite a large tunnel is probably going to be the way we do this. Is it the most realistic? I mean, at this point in time, it probably is, to be honest. There are, maybe not in the US, but certainly in Australia here, we've got some quite large sort of tunnel projects that are being used to, I guess, get railways to places they may not necessarily have been able to reach before. So I'm hoping we should be able to do something like that here as well. Is there any point in having that connection anymore? I don't think there is. If we look at you... Oh, you're not even supposed to go that way. So I don't know how you got onto that set of tracks. Clearly something I've done. But anyone who's wanting to get here can... I'm thinking maybe the wood is the only thing that is potentially a problem there. But... No, actually, no, because they've got their own track there anyway. So I don't even know if we needed that connection at all now. I'm going to leave it, see how it does. I don't think it's required. It doesn't seem like anything weird or rando is happening around this sort of quadrant of track, so I think we're in the clear. Hell is going on there? We're apparently coming up above the ground there. Like running along the seafloor. And we don't have a problem with that, according to this. What if I build that? Is that obviously there? Yeah, oh my god. It is absolutely obviously there. Okay. Now we can fix this. Rather than leveling off, which I think I had done, we're just going to keep tunneling in a downwards direction instead. And at some point, can we level out and still get across the river? It looks like we're looking okay at this point, aren't we? Yeah, we can pretty much go flat there. And can we start to go up? Yes, we can. Ooh, but though perhaps a little bit too early. We need to... Not bad, not bad. The speeds are staying pretty decent as well. So, if we... God, we'll need to start going back down again. Okay. Well, let's see if that works anyway. We're not really going back down. It looks like we're actually staying pretty level. Question is, can we get back up? Oh, and we are possibly just going to miss out. Too much slope. So what might we need to do there? Possibly build a little bit of a bridge rather than having a direct connection. So we've just got collisions, so we're otherwise fine. So I'm just going to build this just so we can see what we're looking at, I guess. And it's not looking too bad. I think we can pretty much bridge there without like any effort at all. No, we can't bridge there. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that is all fixed. We have our connection with San Francisco now. Things are looking pretty nice. And this is where things really get messy, because we do have a lot of stuff going on here. And I think our only option... Got really two options. And both of them really involve shifting everything over just a little bit. Do we have pylons there? We don't have pylons. Could we just run an additional pair of tracks? I reckon we could. It's saying collision, but I will actually allow it, to be honest. And can we do the same here? Yeah. I don't necessarily think there's a collision. There is absolutely a massive collision there. What am I saying? But yeah, we should be able to fix that up. So this becomes a bit of a difficult exercise now. We're also not running those parallel either. And the reason for that is that we're looking at having our high-speed tracks be in the middle here, which means they're going to conflict a little bit with some of our slower movements. So who is using this set of tracks here? Got quite a few lines, in fact, that will be doing that. And that is a problem for us. So we need to work out how we can potentially get away with that. With that in mind, we might need to go a different route to do these sort of exchange movements we're looking at. I might continue running our tracks parallel, just so we sort of get an idea of, I guess, what we've got to work with in terms of clearances and things like that. So we could definitely sort of balloon out a little bit and I think have this track go over the top of the hill. That might be an option. And we can use the tunnel for our high speed. Let's see if we can do that. I don't know if that will exactly work, but it could be an option. So can we... No, we're going to actually collide. I reckon we're not far off though. I think we've got the good idea, or the right idea. We just need to see what we can do to make it happen. Trouble there is we've already got too much slope happening. It doesn't look like we're hitting the roof of that tunnel by heading over the top there. Doesn't look like it. So it might be okay. Though we're now going to have some trouble getting back to the right level if we're sort of passing all the way over the top like that. Like, big troubles, in fact. But it might work. It might work. Looks like we can get around about down to the correct level. Okay, so... too much slope now. God. Okay, that is working, more or less. Okay, cool. That's good. So we've pretty much now set up like a bit of a deviation, to be honest. We should be able to keep building like off pause. And we should be able to disconnect this little bit here as well. we will pause for a very short while because we are going to need to switch the tracks over. It should be fairly no-nonsense sort of connection. That, I was going to say, that should fix everything, but of course it doesn't because of... No, why? Why doesn't it fix everything? Chandler, Roseville, can't connect all stations. Why? Connect up fine with everything. I don't know why that's broken. Okay, well I know that's why that's going to be broken. That's acceptable. We cross over here. The issue is that we've not built overheads for any of this. This is like classic standard operating procedure for me. Forget about the overheads. And break lines. That should fix it, and we're probably just going to have a few lost trains. Yes. So we've still got a definite issue here with this connection. I mean, we could just get rid of it altogether and have them flow through our passenger tracks. An idea, potentially. Obviously, the issue with that is that we were trying to avoid those sort of conflicting movements. The other thing we could do is just have them run through our station. That's also quite a untidy movement to make. But I wonder, are they actually connected? No, they're not. Oh, they are. So who is unhappy now? You, because you have no path. And where are you? We can fix you. That does actually fix everything. It's not the tidiest fix we can make, but I think it's still going to be fine. Now, by making all these changes, what we've done is freed up this pair of tracks to run our new services on. So, yeah, super stoked about that, if I'm honest. They're staying reasonably high speed, do get down a little bit at the station itself, but, I mean, you're not really going to notice that. Our trains are going to be slowing down anyway to sort of stop or whatever they're doing. It's the problem with retrofitting new lines, especially ones you want to keep separated from the rest of the network into situations like these, is that you do have things you just haven't planned for. And that's okay. I think, what length do we have our freight shuttles running to? I don't think they're very long. 240 meters probably. Well, I mean, they're the same length as everything else, I guess. So not very long is really a bit of a misnomer, isn't it? Of course, we could just do what we've done on other parts of the network and just have it split off and terminate more in our industrial area. That probably makes more sense to actually do rather than trying to have a way to cram it in here next to our passenger platform. So yeah, I'm happy with doing that. We'll get ourselves a cargo terminus station. And we can just have it, yeah, pretty much coming in here. And we're just going to need to, of course, convert our services over so that they're picking up and dropping off in the right places. That should be a fairly easy change to make. Fairly simple. And it's gonna, well, it's not gonna break, but it's gonna be less than optimal temporarily. But it'll be okay. So we can now disconnect this section here. and convert this over to run as a passenger set of platforms. In fact, we actually need to remove those tracks as well, my bad. And I think we're okay with the lack of grade separation here. We just need to be aware, obviously, there's going to be a lower speed section of track. And honestly, I'm not that happy with that little kink, so I'm going to realign some tracks just to hopefully get that a little bit smoother. Yeah, that's a bit nicer there. All right, and so from here, we're heading off towards Charleston. We will have a different station. We're not going to be running the same one here. Then we will join up with our existing line and, yeah, run through the rest of the journey. So that's pretty exciting. We're pretty much almost done. All right, and only one thing left to do here, and that is to join up with our existing Millennium line. Question is, can we get up high enough? Looks like we can. So it's not making it easy, that's for sure. And yeah, cool. Speed does go down a little bit, but you're probably going to be reducing speed anyway coming up to, you know, major sort of change. You know, joining up to the other line. Not really talking good right now, am I? There we go. So this should be our new line completely built. It's taken a while, but I'm keen to get some new trains into service and running on it. Very excited. Just with Roseville, we just need to add on platform 1 as well, so it'll use both platforms. And actually at Chandler as well, we just need to add on platform 2 as well. So there we go, that is completed. What are we going to call it though? This is a massive new bit of infrastructure for this region, so I'm wondering what we could call it. We called the first one the Millennium Line, which I think was fitting because it was sort of built at the turn of the century, turn of the millennium. What are we going to call this one though? Why don't you help me out, leave in the comments what you think we could call this new line. Right now I think we're just going to call it CRHS, Chandler to Roseville High Speed Line. Next, it's time to buy some stock for this line. If we have a look at our Millennium Line, how many trains do we have running on that? We've got 7, and this one's a little bit longer. We might start it off with 7, but potentially look to ultimately have about 10 on there if things run well anyway. And no errors either, so these should basically make their way onto the Millennium Line, go through to Chesapeake, and then sort of start running the timetabled services. So yeah, that's exciting, and we will definitely keep an eye on how things go with that throughout the rest of this episode. Now, if we return to the motorway state of mind, which of course occupied all of last week's episode, I just want to check up on how we're going. And I'm over here at our Wilmington interchange on the new motorway. It doesn't look great. It is backing up quite a fair amount. It's not the worst. Richmond is also looking a little bit crappy, but it is improving over time. I don't think we even need a set of lights there, to be honest. They can probably just run straight through just to make a quick tweak I just saw, because there shouldn't be too many people turning left there. And if there are... Actually, no, we do need lights because there are people coming in this direction. So that was my mistake. But there are a... But anyway, part of the issue here is going to be people traveling from sort of Dayton. Because as I've mentioned last week, the only way to get to Dayton from anywhere else is through Richmond and ultimately the motorway or this back road. So I'm thinking what we could do is build a... not a sort of massive high-speed motorway, just more of a regular sort of highway. Connect it up probably to here, to, what was this, Everett? Yep. And just sort of run through the back of Wilmington and obviously connect up to the sort of local road network there as well. And yeah, I think that should help to reduce some of the ridiculous demand on that motorway. We'll see how it goes anyway. Might take this up to 100 k's an hour and we'll not do a straight road. It's a bit silly. Are you connected? Yeah, you are. This is sort of like a would be a Dayton via Wilmington or something. Probably not via Wilmington, but I don't know what you'd call it. But I think this should help it a little bit. I'm hoping, anyway. And if I turn on the destinations layer, we've already immediately have one person who wants to use it. So clearly they've been waiting a while for this sort of connection to be made. And they're like, yes, it's time. I don't have to go all the way around the world to get to Dayton. And look, in fact, we've got quite a few people from Wilmington, it looks like, who are potentially going to be wanting to use this connection. Hopefully it doesn't sort of undercut this motorway, because we do want to be hopefully having quite the majority of traffic using that motorway. But this is just to cut out sort of an around the world type movement you need to make if you want to get to Dayton. I also want to see if we can get an additional connection over the rail line in Richmond. It's going to be tricky. I think maybe here we could get a tunnel under this triangle. Don't know how well it'll go, but I think it's fairly important that we try and duplicate some of these connections in these towns where we've only got sort of one way to cross the tracks. It's not good forcing people to sort of make those movements. So I think if we can do it, we should absolutely do it. So hopefully that will help out a little bit. Once again, we'll cross over to destinations, and yeah, there's already one person wanting to use that, so probably a decent choice to make that happen. And our inaugural CRHS train is arriving now at Chesapeake. It's already standing room only, so this is proving to be a massively popular line, although of course this is only the first service, so we'll probably expect, demand to taper off as the initial novelty wears off. But regardless, I'm keen to jump aboard, see how this performs, especially on those new stretches of track that we've only recently laid. So yeah, jump aboard if you can get a seat, and hope you enjoy. And here we are arriving in Chandler. So the CRHS line is looking pretty damn good. It was upwards of sort of 3/4 full pretty much through the entire journey, which is good. Tells us there's demand. I think it doesn't have quite the raw top speed of the Millennium line, but definitely the average speed is right up there. Our track design speeds are pretty excellent. There's no real slowdown caused by, having to go around contours or anything like that. So yeah, really good. And some quite impressive feats of engineering there as well with those two sort of long tunnels. So I'm keen to keep an eye on this this new line as time goes on, and hopefully it will continue to be a, big mover of people and a big money maker for us. And let me know what you think we should call it as well. Well, that's going to be about all we have time for in this episode, so I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patrons, Caleb and Isaiah. Thank you so much to the two of you for helping to make this content possible. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.